Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories and Business. I am your host, Julie Fairhurst, and I am the founder of the book program and the business program of Women Like Me. And today I am very excited. I am very excited to introduce you to Paula Thiessen. Now, Paula, you know what? I'm just going to let her tell you what she does. Paula, why don't you give us just a little sprint there of what it is that you do?
Sure, I would be glad to. I am a certified reflexologist. I've been practicing in the Fraser Valley for over 15 years, started in 2009. My name of my company is Soul Focus Reflexology, and that's a bit of a double entendre because I not only work on people's feet, but I do care about people's souls. That's really big for me. And recently I've added in hand reflexology, and just this past weekend, I finished my course in therapeutic head and neck massage. So I do a variety of things, and I offer some packages where I blend it. So I do 90-minute packages or 60-minute packages as well. I'm home-based, and as well I go mobile within the Eastern Fraser Valley. And I also do workplace wellness, where I offer my services to corporations that really care about their employees and their people and want to help them and yeah, encourage them and bless them.
I didn't realize that you did that with corporations and businesses. That's, there's a lot of them out there that need services like yours.
There is, and honestly, in my past, I used to own a business. I had CV marketing research and mystery shopping. My late husband and I ran that firm, and we had over 10 full-time staff and 1,000 independent contractors across North America. And having been a business owner and realizing how important your team is, I always felt like we needed to encourage them and give them some reward. So we came up with staff appreciation days, and so we called them sad days, actually. But yeah, I like to bring that to other businesses that are just with the program and they understand the value of their people.
Wow, I had no idea. Did you say over 1,000 independent contractors?
Yes, yeah, we were right across North America. We did mystery shopping, we did ad testing, taste testing, opinion polls. We were similar to Ipsos Reid or Angus
Yeah.
Reid back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
That sounds like a lot of work. It sounds fun, but it sounds like a lot of work.
it was. And it's interesting because I am a detail-oriented person, and yet I'm also artistic. And that's where I think having this business kind of blends the two sides of my brain, because I love the artistic piece of the massage end of the reflexology. Although, massage is just part of what I do. And then the business side of it. So I like doing both.
Wow. Well, let me ask you then, when you, so was it around the same time that your husband passed on that you decided to go into reflexology, or were you doing that beforehand?
No, this came after. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to reinvent myself after my husband passed away. We had two littles. I had a 18-month-old baby girl, Sammy, and a 3-year-old little boy, Joshua,
Oh,
along with all of our staff. So obviously that was a huge shock. It was a sudden death and wasn't expected. So yeah, that took a while to get through that, and my faith in God, my relationship with God, and being a Christian and my church family really helped with that. And so it was after a few years, I remarried, and then once the kids went into school, I got into reflexology after I sold my first business.
so why reflexology?
Well, that's a good question. I've been thinking about that. Well, a few different things. I mean, way back when I was a little girl, I'm the youngest of six. I have four older brothers and an older sister, and I'm like way younger. Like my sister, who's now passed on, but she was 8 years older, and then my brothers were like 9, 10, 20, 22 years older. So
Wow.
huge gap there. So, and I was 8 by the time everybody left the house. But for me, the way I connected with my older siblings was when we would gather around the living room and watch TV. And for some reason, I was drawn to massaging their feet and giving them foot rubs. I had no idea what the actual benefits were of, working on their feet, but I knew that my siblings loved it, and I loved the attention, and I loved just spending time with them. So that was one piece that I remembered. And then another piece I remembered was when my first husband and I were trying to start a family. I was having fertility issues, and I do believe a lot of it was due to some of the prescription drugs I'd been on that messed with my hormones and my cycle, along with a whole bunch of other things. And then I had some really weird ailments. I had a huge lump under my chin in my lymph nodes. I had a really strange thing going on with my foot. Couldn't move my toes, and so I got referred to a couple different people. And I actually kind of forgot about this till the other day, till I knew we were going to be talking about this. But one of the ladies was a reflexologist, although she didn't go by that title. And then another fellow was a gentleman in White Rock. He was a naturopath. So working with those two, I had never really dealt with holistic health professionals before, but they basically helped me to get rid of these strange ailments that the doctors were like, we don't know. Like, there was a huge lump, and like my foot, I could barely walk. And both of them kind of helped me. I went on a cleanse and whatnot, and I got pregnant right away after that. So it had been 2 years of trying and trying. So that was a piece, the piece being, rubbing my family's feet, and then getting into the holistic health piece. And then, when I had remarried, and I blended family, and we had 4 kids, and my littles, they had all gone off to school. I thought, what am I going to do? And a friend of mine actually said she was going to take a foot reflexology course with RAC, the Reflexology Association of Canada. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that too. And so we took the course together out of Richmond. And I wasn't sure, Julie, because I hadn't done a ton of research on it at the time. And I'm a logical thinker, like, science-based, and things have to make sense to me. So I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this just a massage? So I took the course. It was a year long. Back in 2008, 2009, I finished. And we had to do a 60 case practicum. So I worked on 10 people 6 times, 6 people 10 times. And one of them was just fascinating. It was a young gal who her menstrual cycle was messed up. So sometimes she wouldn't have her cycle for 8 months or a year. And she loved children. She knew that she wanted to have kids once she was older and got married. And so she actually had a prescription in her hand, Julie, and it was to help her with her menstrual cycle. But she said, you know what, I'm going to do these 1-hour sessions weekly for 10 weeks and just see what happens. So I'm like, okay. So faithfully, we booked all the 10 appointments, and she came, and by the end of the 10th session, her menstrual cycle came back without the need for prescription drugs. And now she has 2 healthy boys. So I was like, okay, I'm starting to see some results. With some people, it's fast. And with other people, depending on how long they've had this health issue that they're dealing with, it can take a bit longer. Like, it's not a quick fix. It's not a blue pill that you take and you're good within an hour. So it's, what I've noticed with holistic health and with reflexology is, if a person is open to this, and patient, it's amazing what the body can do when you allow it to heal itself naturally, when you give it all the things it needs, right? Obviously, the things that we're ingesting, the things that we're smelling, even things around the house, right? Like, if you have a lot of toxins in your home. So if you're nurturing and nourishing your body the right way, it can do amazing things if you allow it.
So, what I'm wondering as you were talking there, so when someone comes to you and you don't know them, they book an appointment with you, they come in, they tell you a little bit about what's going on with them. And for example, the lady that was having her menstrual cycle was out of whack. So Do you then know certain, like, are there certain areas that you're going to focus on more than others, or like how does that work a bit?
Okay, so yeah, so basically I do tailor the sessions to each person. But I don't know if you want to take a look at this little picture here, but
Oh
can
yeah,
you
I
see
can
that?
see it. Yeah, I can see
Okay,
it.
so with reflexology, I'm a visual learner, so I find it quite helpful to have a visual. So if you see the inside curve of your foot is very similar to the curve of your spine. So
Right.
anatomically speaking, the toes are round just like the head. So all the reflex points from the head are found in all 10 toes. And this reflex point here is the neck, shoulder ridge, upper back, chest, mid back, low back, tailbone, coccyx. So like from the head down. So heart, bronchioles, lungs, shoulder. The center part of your foot is like the center part of your body. And the heel area is like the pelvic region. And behind the heel is reproductive. So every time I have a client come in, I'm going to work all the points. Like I start off with some warm up techniques to get the blood flow circulation going. And then I get into all the reflex points. And there's over 70 points per foot. And there's over 7,000 nerve endings in your feet alone. So it's similar, reflexology is similar to acupressure. So it's a firm but gentle pressure on all these reflex points in the body, and it sends an electrical impulse, a signal to your brain, affecting your entire central nervous system. So I will go through most of the points, but if someone is coming in, like you say, for fertility issues like that gal in my practicum, I will work more heavily on the reproductive reflexes and tailor the session to their needs. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little bit of research, just a little bit, before, because I knew we were going to be talking. And one of the things that came up a little bit was people crying. So it said that what I was reading was, it was saying, and I don't mean crying, because of pain, not that,
Right.
not that,
Right.
but
Mhm.
crying just in terms of bringing up emotions that have just been sort of locked in the body. Do you find
Mhm.
that, like, I don't know, have you dealt with anybody dealing with emotional issues that's helped them at all, or?
Or definitely. I mean, over the 15 years, I wouldn't say it's uh, super regular, but I have had the occasion where clients have come in and it's unlocked some things for them. Definitely, it helps people with. I have people with anxiety issues, stress issues. It's like pressing the reset button for your body's computer. And we, like I said, we are working all the reflex points for the head and the brain, pituitary gland, hypothalamus. And when you work the hypothalamus reflex, it helps to put the client's body into the parasympathetic state of rest and digest, rest and repair.
Oh, okay.
And so many people, Julie, are lacking physical touch. I know for myself, when I was going through grief after losing my first husband, the first few times I went to the chiropractor and he laid his hands on my back, I just started bawling because my husband was gone. I hadn't been touched, and it can unlock some emotions, that's for sure. Yeah, so I have had people, sometimes I've talked to other reflexologists, and sometimes you do feel a little bit like a counselor because people are entrusting you with all the things that are going on in their life, and if only if they feel comfortable, when they fill in their health record form, the intake form, they're letting me know a little bit about them if they feel comfortable with. Of course, it's
Yeah,
all confidential,
yes, of course.
but some other things can definitely come up. So I keep the Kleenex box nearby in case that were to happen. And they feel quite cozy because in a session, just like a full body massage, they can get quite cold because the blood tends to shunt away from their heart to the extremities.
Okay.
So I wrap up my clients. I give them a nice cozy, sometimes a weighted blanket. I wrap up the one foot that I'm not working on, and I make sure that they feel very safe, comfortable, and warm. I have a pillow behind their head and behind under their feet. and it's dimly lit with candles. And I usually have some sort of a diffuser going if they like essential oils. And that can also bring out emotions. Some people say, I feel like a kid again. I haven't
Yeah.
had someone touch me like this. So yeah,
Oh,
it's quite fascinating what you can get out of
yeah.
people.
And I can see I, I can just vision how emotionally it could be helpful for some folks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a lady that comes regularly, probably every 2 weeks. She usually books 6 appointments in a row because she wants her time slot. She gets off work early, so 2:30 every 2 weeks she
Yeah.
comes, and it's definitely helping with her anxiety. Her medications are, she's coming not off, but it's lowering the dosages. So,
Yeah.
and that's always the goal. It
Yeah.
would be great if most people don't have to go on synthetic prescription drugs, but sometimes
Yes.
we need them. Like
Yes, of
my
course.
second husband had a heart attack several years ago, and of course he's on meds. He needs those, but if we can eliminate as many as possible, that's all the better.
Yeah, for sure. I also read that there's three types of reflexology. So I read that there's feet, hands, and ears. So what's the difference between those three? Like, do
Well,
you,
there's actually
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, there's actually even more, Julie.
Oh,
So there's foot reflexology, hand reflexology, ear reflexology, facial reflexology, and cranial sacral reflexology. And I started with foot reflexology, and that's what I named my business, Soul Focus Reflexology, because I feel like most people don't really take care of their feet. They're working hard all day, they're running, they're this or that, and maybe they'll spend time on their eyelashes or getting their hair colored or
yeah.
new makeup, but a lot of people don't really pamper their feet as much.
Yes.
But basically, essentially, they're the same. I mean, like I said, in your feet alone, there's over 7,000 nerve endings. They're all your extremities, all the nerve endings, right? So the top of your head, your face, your ears, and feet and hands. And I haven't taken an ear reflexology course, but I do know this, that the ear is shaped very similar to a baby, to a fetus. So it's
Oh,
basically the whole body reflected in the ear. Sorry, I'm quite red right now, but yeah, it's all the
oh,
nerve things. So I also do hand reflexology because there are times if someone, say, has a broken foot,
yeah,
and they want to come in for a session, well, then the alternative is I can work on their hands, or we could work on the ears. Say you're standing in line somewhere and you want to
yeah,
help somebody, you could just show them the reflex point on the ear, and that's also nice for take home tips. So sometimes I'll do that with my clients. Say they're struggling with anxiety or whatnot, I'll just give them 1 or 2 points. I'll draw it on their hand and I'll say,
yeah.
hey, every time you're at a red light or a stop sign or somewhere and you're feeling that anxiety come up or whatever it is, you just press on this point. Take a few deep breaths, and no one needs to know that you're giving yourself hand reflexology. So you're in that business meeting and it's very stressful.
Yes.
You can just work on these points yourself and help to calm the body down
Ah.
far quicker than taking your shoes and socks off, when you're in the car or wherever you are.
Yeah,
It's
not in an office meeting, right? Oh, excuse me, just a sec. I'm getting
Yeah,
stressed. I got to remove my shoes.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So all the nerve endings.
yeah,
That's why I took this course on the head and neck massage,
yeah,
because I have clients with migraine headaches. So I'm wanting to intertwine, the foot reflexology with the head and neck massage and do maybe, a 90-minute session or alternate and see which therapy they're going to get quicker results to help them with those migraines or
yeah, yeah.
sinus issues or whatnot. Yeah,
So
fascinating.
I have a question. You may not be able to answer it, but I'm going to ask anyway. So your back, because your back, so there must be a massive amount of nerves in your back as well then, or is that from the spine? So if you get a massage or, a little tickle or something back there, I just noticed that there's a lot of there's a different feeling when your back is being touched.
Right. Yeah. That I can't speak to as much as far as the nerve endings, but I know about the extremities and the reflexology points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Well, what do you suggest for somebody who's first starting out?
I always suggest to them, because this is my forte, I suggest coming to me for the first time to do the 1 hour foot reflexology. So get your foundation, see what it's all about, see if your body responds to it, if you're comfortable with it. And most people are. I'd say, you know, about 80 to 90% of my clients get quite sleepy, because reflexology does help to put your body in that parasympathetic state. So I'd suggest for them to come check out that hour. I do offer my clients a client loyalty discount. So if they come for 3 sessions, I knock off $30, and they can take it from there. And I usually suggest, if you're coming in for something other than just relaxation, so say you've got a health concern that you want to deal with because you've tried other things, you've tried the regular Western medicine route, and you want to try something different, I usually say give this 3 to 10 sessions. Like, be patient. If you can have the time to do it, weekly is even better. Sessions booked closer together, you're going to get quicker results. So that's my recommendation. And then they can come on in and add the Bliss package or the Revitalize package with the hand and foot and the back therapeutic back massager, or come in for the head and neck massage, you know.
Yeah.
Try that after. But I'd say start with the foot reflexology.
Yeah. And so the other thing I was going to ask you is, what about side effects? Are there any negative side effects to having reflexology done, or are there certain people that shouldn't have it done?
Very good question. So in all honesty, reflexology is safe for all ages. Babies up to 90-year-olds. I've worked on small children, and I go regularly to see my 96-year-old father-in-law in Abbotsford. So I go mobile, and I'll just bring everything to him, or to any other client. So for the contraindications could be, if you're in, obviously if you have an open wound, I wouldn't want to work on that. You know, a broken ankle, an injury, open sores, that kind of thing. And really, as far as side effects, the only clients that I've had that have had, I would call it a bit of a healing crisis. You can get that with natural therapies. I've had clients come in stage 4 cancer, so they've gone for chemo or radiation. And a few of them have said they felt a bit flu-like for a few days. But that's really the only thing. It's safe, it's gentle, it's non-invasive. But that would be the only thing, is either you've got a lot of toxins in your body, obviously with chemo and that, you want to get rid of it. And in other countries, like in Denmark and China and whatnot, they actually, reflexologists and holistic health practitioners work hand in hand with Western medicine. And they even have reflexologists in oncology departments on standby after patients have done their treatment, and they can go for reflexology and help rid the body of those toxins that they've just infused them.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, right? That they would go from chemo or whatever they were having into having a reflexology treatment, because it does help to remove all those toxins.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a problem with sleep. Yeah, and I wake up a lot. And so would that help with somebody that has sleep problems? They have, I don't know. I think a lot of women have sleep problems. So, but what about us that have trouble falling asleep, or we can't stay asleep? Does it help with that?
Definitely good question. Yeah, reflexology is really wonderful for insomnia, either if you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. I've had really good success with some of my clients over the years with those issues. Again, I mean, we're working all the different points. We work on the pineal gland, which helps to regulate the sleep-wake cycle. So I find usually when clients come back for their second or third session, they're like, yeah, actually, I slept through the night. Or even not long ago, a few months back, I was volunteering at Sardis Doorway, and they only had time for mini sessions. So my volunteering was just 15 minutes, and that's the shortest I would ever go to demonstrate to someone what reflexology feels like. And I actually, Julie, got a message the next day that one of the ladies from that mini session messaged me and she said, Paula, I actually slept all night without my sleeping pill. And that was only after 15 minutes, which is
Wow.
amazing.
Yes, that is
Yes.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, all you ladies out there that can't sleep, let's not lay there and toss and turn at night. I often thought, think, because, and I seem to wake up, which I have girlfriends that do the same thing, around 3 in the morning. And I said, we should just have like a chat group or something. But then I'm like, no, that wouldn't be good because then we'd never get back to sleep.
That is a great idea. Yes. I mean, obviously, as we age, we have hormonal issues, and I will admit that I struggle with that as well. And I've had two of my own reflexologists that I'm missing because my one who actually took the training with me, she's retired because she's got arthritis. And the other one was a former client that loved getting reflexology so much. She got the training and then moved away to Nova Scotia. So I need someone as well. But, I keep thinking when I wake up, I need to do, work on the pineal gland and some of the other points. But also what I'm learning is I need to, shut down my devices earlier, at least an hour before. I've learned to put my devices in another room and, keep that room nice and dark, make sure there's blackout curtains and limit the amount of liquids before, a few hours before bedtime. So there's all these other things that we can do to help with that, because, if you're not sleeping, it also can hinder weight loss with women that are in the perimenopausal or menopausal or postmenopausal phase. We really do need all the help that we can get.
So is there an actual pressure point for weight loss? Is there one little spot?
Hey, Julie, if there was, I would have been pressing it long ago. There's not one spot, that is for sure. There is not one. I wish there was. And I've actually been asked that a few times.
I bet. Oh, that's a shame because that would be helpful.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, Paula, this has been so interesting. And I think that if there's anyone out there that's even kind of played with the idea, or maybe they were afraid because they just weren't sure exactly what it was. I know sometimes that stops a lot of people from going and getting help, or just even trying something new because they're fearful, they don't know what to expect. But and I know that when people come to you, you're very good at, I like to call it, taking people to the safe island. So you're wanting to explain, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happens when people first come to you?
Sure. And just to touch on that, I have had people that have been nervous to come because they're not sure, if there's any voodoo stuff that's going on. And that's not what I do. I mean, I am a Christian. I put God first. So I don't do any of the new age practices that some people might expect that I would do. But when someone comes to me for the first time, have them come on in. There's a nice comfy couch where they can sit on. I have a cleansing herbal foot soak for every single foot reflexology session. And because I'm very conscious of our skin and what we put on it, all my products that I use and the products that I sell are plant-based, as natural as possible. So I love the foot care line called Gayval, and that's a German foot care line, means walking well.
Oh.
And I was having trouble getting that for a few years, Julie, because of COVID and the border closure. So I'm so glad to have that back. So the herbal foot soak that I use has mountain pine leaf in there, lavender, and it's just a lovely scent, and it softens and cleanses the feet. And obviously for the first time client, I'll have them fill out an intake form. So ladies that need their reading glasses, I encourage them to bring their glasses and just relax on the couch. And then I come on in, I'll dry off the feet that have been cleansed, and I'll just give them a bit of a rundown of what reflexology is, so they, understand what it is and what it isn't. And I'll let them know that we're working all 70 points on the feet, even if they've had an organ removed through surgery. I'll still work all the points in case there's phantom pain, and some of the reflex points overlap one another. So like I said, I'll get them in their comfy zero gravity reclining chair. And the reason why we do this is so that the feet are elevated above the heart. and we don't want them to get dizzy. So that's why we use the zero gravity chair. We put the pillows in. I have a wedge for their back if they need it, and we move it around so that they're comfortable. Like I had an elderly lady the other day who couldn't go as far back, so we just adjusted. Some people, their knees, are bent, so we put an extra pillow under the knee. So you're going to be comfy. I often will use a lavender eye mask just to block out any extra light, because I want people to get really comfortable and sink into the chair. I usually recommend, if we want to have any chatting, we'll do that a little bit in the beginning, but just to be quiet and just tune out the rest of the world. I'll have some nice spa music playing or some birds chirping, something just to relax the mind. And I'll have the blanket on, the pillows, the candles, and the diffuser will be going. I usually give clients 2 to 3 different choices of pure essential oils to see what their body's needing that day. Some people, are heading off to work, so they want to be energized, so they might choose a citrus scent. Others are going to go straight home to bed, so they might choose a lavender scent just to relax them. And I find that's really important too, because the olfactory, what scents you take in, that's huge. Like some of our greatest memories are from the different smells that we've had in our lives. And then again, with the sounds that we're taking in. And then I'll work on that one foot. I'll do some warm-up techniques, like I was saying, to get the blood flow and the circulation going. And not just from the knees down to the toes where I'm working, but it's getting the blood pumping to the heart, to all the organs, and feeding the whole body, and getting that circulation going and blood flow going. And then I'll just work the entire foot, all 70 points. I'll go to the next foot, work that all. And then at the end, I do a therapeutic massage from the knees to the toes. And I generally offer 2 different options, either organic coconut oil or another cream that's made locally in Mission, BC. It's called Dynamint. And it's similar to the P3 cream that a lot of the chiropractors and therapists use, but it's a stronger version. And I sell that as well, but it's great because it's got a base of eucalyptus oil, peppermint oil, calendula oil, and tea tree oil. So it's very invigorating. It's really good for sore muscles and tension.
Wow. That just sounds like heaven. That just sounds, no, it does. It sounds wonderful. I went to, I won't say which spa, but a large, fancy, expensive spa a few years back. And I thought, I'm going to get the reflexology treatment. And the lady was lovely, but she talked through the entire thing. And she was, where I love that you're going to educate people about what you're going to tell them, what you're going to do before you do it. But this lady was telling me as she was doing it. And I don't know if that's her regular way of doing it or, but I just felt like it was wrecked for me, because I felt like I needed to keep listening, because and she'd asked me a question. And anyway, it's to know that it's a medical, like, I don't want to say the word medical, but therapeutic to your body. But it's also so nice that people like just are able to just relax, and like you put that over their eyes, they just zone out. When do we ever get to zone out? Not often,
I know,
right?
it's so important, right? Because sleep is a healer. Like when you are able to get a full deep sleep, that is when your body can start the healing process. And so, like you're saying earlier, if you're getting interrupted sleep, that does affect all sorts of things. Like it does affect weight loss and health and healing, the healing process, if we're not getting the sleep. So it's absolutely vital. And that's why I also recommend to clients, after they leave my session, just like with a massage or any kind of body work, it's so important. When we break up, I forgot to mention, we're breaking up crystal deposits, it's uric acid. So when you feel those crunchy bits in your body, often in the feet, as a reflexologist, we're getting in there to break up those crystal deposits. And you don't want those staying in your body. You want to flush those out. So I always recommend to clients to up their water intake, 2 glasses, 1 or 2, depending on how close to bed they've come to see me. And then I always recommend, after a session, is to take an Epsom salt soak. I love these Epsom salt baths because they're so healing. I mean, most of us are lacking magnesium, and that's what's in these Epsom salts.
Right.
And magnesium is wonderful for about 100 different things, sleep being one of them. Also, it does draw poisons and toxins out of the body. And I probably mentioned this to you before, Julie, but I had my husband had an infected hand, an infected finger, and he soaked his hand in warm Epsom salts, and it drew all the blood and the infection. It pulled it out of his finger. So it's so huge for clients afterwards when they've done this kind of body work to take it to the next level. And I've had clients say, oh yeah, I had that bath 2 days later. I'm like, no, it needs to be that day, that night, sometime before bed, and to slough the dead skin away from the heart to the extremities. And that's going to help just flush out with the water all those toxins we broke up. That's really an important piece.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, Paula, you have definitely educated us and encouraged us and motivated us with what you've been telling us today. For anyone that is listening, in the detailed section of the podcast or video, I will have all of Paula's information. So there will be links so that you can reach out to her if you have questions, or if you want to book a session with her, you'll be able to go ahead and do that. So you'll be able to find all of that when you're ready, or if you're interested. Paula, what would you like to say to everyone in closing? Is there anything else that that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure that our audience understands?
Well, I think, obviously career is important, but there's many things that define me, and I think we've touched on some of them. But definitely, for me, my faith in God comes first, and my family and friends, and then my career, of course. And I think life is really all about balance, and I think it's really important for people to find that balance in their life, and make sure that all aspects of their life are being addressed and looked at. So I think that's really important, and that's why I love what I do. I love the holistic health, and I really love helping people. Like, truly, I care about people's minds, their bodies, and their soul. And I just love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about people, number one.
Well, when you were telling us the story about being a little girl and giving your brothers and sisters foot massages, I thought to myself, well, no wonder this is what you were meant to do, to have that much. People, look back at what you were doing as a kid. Really,
Yeah,
there's
crazy.
if you lost your passion, go back and look, because it's there. And
It's true.
yeah, and as you were saying it, I thought my little aha was going off, thinking, well, that's why she's so good at what she does, because you love it and you're passionate about it and you were meant to do it. Yeah.
It was intuitive, I guess, like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was something that was just inside of me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, Paula, thank you so much for being willing to do this. So everybody who is listening, don't forget, Paula is available and she's more than happy to answer your questions, and also, of course, give you a treatment. And so all of her information will be in the details section. So don't be afraid to reach out to her. And so once again, Paula, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Julie. It was my pleasure.
You're welcome.